Hey, so we are actually live, and I want to make sure we share the link. We actually live. Okay. All right, guys. Give me a second. We're going to share the link right now. I'm going to take you off stage and bring you back in, Mark.
Okay.
The anticipation. Guys, if you can hear me, give me a one. If you can hear me right now, give me a one. Give me a one. If you can hear me, give me a one. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, just tweeting this out real quick and then we're going to get right into it. Okay. Okay, judgment. Okay, we're about to start it right now. Here we go. Boom. Okay, guys. So earlier I discussed bringing in a legal expert in the areas of civil law and litigation, and this attorney, I had the pleasure of watching him in action along with his team. And the reason why he's here today is to discuss briefly the decision and the defamation suit that Cardi B had against TashaK, as well as discuss the possibility, likelihood, based on him studying the verdict, that she can actually file bankruptcy. I do understand that she went live a little while ago on a 12-minute video, essentially blaming corporate media for her loss. But it was the same corporate media that she had these videos on where she was making a profit for from putting videos about Cardi B out there. And I want to point out there was never a First Amendment claim made in this case. And I do understand that she made a First Amendment claim on her brief video, saying essentially her First Amendment was violated. Well, the lawyers in none of the closing made that type of claim. And with that said, I want to introduce you guys to Mark D. Links. Bring him in. Mark, can you hear me?
Yeah, Dennis, how are you? Good to see you.
Good. I haven't seen you in a while, but last time I seen you was in a courtroom where you were defending your client in the suit against rap star the Brat.
That's right.
Cobb County, Georgia, and obviously I covered that case for TMZ. Now today we're discussing the obviously the verdict, and you have a little familiarity with the case, and if we can go briefly into that, and then let's just talk about this verdict.
Absolutely, Dennis. Well, when I was first heard about this case, I had actually talked to Cardi B some years ago. When the case was first getting started, they were looking for local counsel. And when I had talked to her, she was obviously distraught and she was going through a lot. This really weighed heavily on her. Unfortunately, the moon and the stars didn't align. I was super busy at the time. I couldn't jump on board her legal team, but I have to congratulate her team now and Cardi for going through this entire process. It's a great result. So it's been 2 years and she brought it home. I'm proud of her and her team.
Brought it home in a big way. And I just alluded to the because this video TashaK just released at 7 o'clock, and someone just sent me the link before I brought you in onto the stage. She is claiming now that her First Amendment right might have been violated, but it was never no mention of constitutional violation during the trial. And I doubt it, but you're the attorney. Can she raise that now during an appeal?
If she didn't bring it up during the case itself, it's not an appealable issue in a federal court. Everything has to be brought to the judge's attention at that point to bring in an appealable issue. Everybody has a First Amendment right, but you have to remember that we don't have a First Amendment right to defame other people and cause them damage, and that's what this case was about. So I don't really see a lot of that claim going that far as her saying First Amendment right. And what's ironic is what you said. She's using the media outlets to defame other people, and that's what the jury found. But at the same time, she's saying, well, this is the cause of my woes now. So we can't have it both ways.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And because this is Cardi B, the media is going to cover it. And if there was ever any issue about the way the media cover it, the transcripts, as well as the reporting by multiple outlets consistently reporting the same thing, I don't see how she can raise a claim on that either. One other thing, she had mentioned on her social that she talked about the makeup of the jury. Now, obviously, you go to voir dire, and if she felt that the jury makeup was biased towards her, the defense had a option to raise what is called a Batson challenge. Can you talk about that?
Well, under Batson, we are all, when we go to trial, judged by juries of our peer. So you can't indiscriminately strike all people of Caucasians or all African Americans. You have to have an evenly balanced jury. So if your reason for striking all the African Americans is because they're African American, you can raise that as an appealable issue. So I'm sure her defense team, TashaK's defense team, they were well aware of this and they could have raised that challenge. But she got the jury that was picked by both parties. And that's how the jury system works.
Okay, let's look. You had an opportunity to review the documents that were sent to you?
Yes, I have.
Looking at what the jury found liable, and based on the defamation, do you see a likelihood that they can go into bankruptcy court and try to see some type of chapter so they won't have to pay for this judgment?
Well, that's interesting because in the Brat case, which was a verdict of $6.4 million, we've been chasing that down for many, many years. And Brat did take advantage of the bankruptcy process. And every person in the United States has the bankruptcy process available to them. There's nothing wrong with that. But what is interesting in this case, and also the Brat's case, she's not going to be able to bankrupt out of any punitive damages. And that's the punishment damages. And that was $1 million against her personally. So that's not going away. The other judgment, it could be wrapped up in the bankruptcy court and that could disappear for the compensatory damages. But the $1 million is not going to be wiped out by the bankruptcy because it's there to punish her. And you can't just walk into a bankruptcy court and try to wipe out a punishment damage, just like a criminal can't walk into a bankruptcy court and try to wipe away their sentence for being sent to prison.
Interesting. So now we have the punitive. Now it was also $500,000 punitive on the company. That can't be wiped out either, correct?
I don't believe it can. But at the same time, as the company, does the company have any assets? And it's going to be a shell game trying to find the assets of that company. And that's the difficult process that the plaintiff Cardi B will have right now is tracking down the assets to cover this judgment.
And then you have the attorney fees of $1.3 million.
Absolutely. They did a lot of work on this case, and it shows. It was a good team she had.
That too would lean towards the the compensatory side, or can they try to get out of paying that as well?
Well, the only thing that will stick if she files for bankruptcy, if she has enough assets, TashaK, then it'll be all wrapped up, and the assets that she has to pay for the judgment. But if she doesn't have assets, a couple $1 million lying around, the compensatory damages will not stick. That could be dissolved in a bankruptcy situation. So that's the tough part of this. Is getting the judgment is half the battle, and
the money's the other.
Yes, exactly. Cardi B did what she did. There's a new sheriff in town, and that's Cardi B, it seems like, and she's going after these people. And I'm glad she got what she deserved.
And for me, I think it was more about the vindication for the things that were said about her, and to send a message to others who have been bullied, or who have been bullied by this particular blogger and others across the social media platform. So do you think YouTube perhaps could have played a role in allowing her to, again, these videos just came down today. She literally took them down today.
Okay.
She, for whatever reason, I guess she had a come into Jesus moment and said she's going to take it down. The judge is going to still have an injunction hearing coming up next month, which she still should move forward with. They should still move forward with that, because you can put the videos back up after that day is expired. Now, with that, I guess the question is, with that, I don't know what sympathy she can get, because all the verdicts are in. The punitive verdict is in, as well as the verdict on the case itself. So I think for Cardi, it's a powerful message in addressing cyberbullying. Your thoughts on this? What is your thoughts on cyberbullying?
Absolutely is. Well, the internet seems to be the wild, wild west of defamation, because there has not, to my knowledge, been a verdict like this. Maybe some other celebrities have pursued it and settled out of court, but this really sends a message across the entire internet. And it's always puzzled me how people like Cardi B, entertainers like that, can work and do all the hard work and get to where they have been in their career. And these bottom feeders, as you would call them, they ride their coattails and they make money off of defaming them after the celebrities have done all the hard work. It's just not fair. So I'm glad Cardi B has gone this route and seen it through the end, because this will send a message. I'll tell you what, TashaK's attorneys were not cheap either. So if somebody's staring down a legal bill to defend this case, that may give them pause whether or not to put up videos like this against celebrities.
And we're not going to, because you actually didn't watch the trial, but there was a lot of reporting about how the defense handled the case, and some have suggested that this case shouldn't have even came to court. They should have probably tried to resolve this, because the judge during a pretrial hearing pretty much told the lawyers that you probably don't want to bring this case to court, just based on looking at the elements.
And I think you said the verdict came within 2 hours. So that just shows you how clear it was and how really disgusted the jury was with the tactics of the defendant in defaming Cardi B. And it was a clear case. The judge probably saw that from the very beginning. This is not going to go well for you. You might think about trying to get this done now. And if Cardi B wanted an apology and just the videos removed, that would have saved a lot of heartache for TashaK. And now we see the position she's in now.
In a video, which I briefly looked at, I'm going to go look at it and try to just do a breakdown of what she said. She said that she wants to take this all the way to the Supreme Court. What is the likelihood of the Supreme Court touching this? And by the way, I know one of the justices is retiring. Is that Breyer?
I heard that earlier. I was on a plane earlier and I just saw it on some feed. I'm not exactly sure of the actual details of it.
Right. So what's the likelihood of the Supreme Court even entertaining a case like this?
Very, very unlikely. This is really just a civil matter. There's no unique issues of law that are involved in this. First of all, she has to go through the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals. And then if she loses there and it doesn't get returned back to the trial court, she will have to apply to get consideration from the Supreme Court of the United States. There's no automatic right to get to the Supreme Court of the United States. They take very few and very select cases. So I really doubt that she could get to the Supreme Court of the United States. She will get to the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals if she desires, but that's even more money out of her pocket. So,
and talking about the appeal process, well, the case already in legal fees cost her, it cost Cardi 1.3. I don't know what her attorneys charge her. What do you gauge an appeal like this would take to litigate? Because obviously it wouldn't make sense, in my opinion, for her to use the same attorneys to do an appeal.
Right.
If you get a qualified appeal attorney to take it the distance, what do you think it probably costs?
Well, certainly there's not a trial that's going on for a week. You're briefing the arguments, you're writing the briefs. I know I had a case of mine go to the United States Supreme Court, and the lawyer that handled the case, it was such an important issue, he was doing it on my behalf. He did not charge me, but he said he would charge $100,000 for that case for an appeal. So I would think realistically in TashaK's case, if she was to go to the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, minimum of $50,000 to get up there and brief this.
I said 100,000 just based on covering the case like that. And I said that and that's probably gonna have to be paid up front, especially in a case like this.
Well, what's interesting, if she does file for bankruptcy, she has to lay all her finances out and show the bankruptcy court, like, this is how much money I have, this is where it's all at. And because I don't know how much of that has been discovered in this case yet. So that would really give us insight into this is the money that Cardi B can get from her.
I want to, and that's funny that you say that. During the punitive phase of the case, each lawyer had 20 minutes to argue the punitive phase. Cardi's attorneys used the 20 minutes. However, when the defense came up, they used 1 minute and 1 second to argue their case against punitive damages. I thought that was pretty odd. If you're trying to fight for your client not to be bankrupt or at least out of pocket that kind of money, wouldn't you put up a bigger fight than 1 minute?
Absolutely. I don't understand the rationale behind that. I haven't heard the argument itself, but if you're facing 1 minute versus 20 minutes, you got to think, who are you convincing? Who's convinced by the argument? The person that heard the 20-minute speech or the person that heard the 1 minute speech? It's like a presidential debate. If somebody debates for 1 minute, doesn't have a chance against somebody debating for 20 minutes.
And the other things that, in trying to convince the jury, I think one of the reasons why it didn't go the distance as far as the 20 minutes is you have to ask for some type of compassion from the jury. You have to show your financials. You have to show something to prove that you might not be able to afford this, because I guess the goal is not to bankrupt a person, but they didn't present no financial records to support them not being able to pay for a sizable judgment.
Well, that's a good point, because I've had many punitive damage trials, and I remember one in particular that we were suing a drunk driver, and we got to the punitive phase. And punitive just means, in addition to paying for their medical bills and pain and suffering, you have punishment damages because what they did was really bad. And that's what TashaK, it was alleged she did. She famed Cardi B, and the jury found that it was really bad. But in this other case, the defense lawyer got up there and said, my client has nothing. He has $100 in his checking account. They showed his checking account. Whatever your verdict is, he's not going to pay it. So it's going to be on paper. And the verdict wasn't that high. So I'm wondering what TashaK was hiding as far as her finances.
And that was the $1 million question. Well, actually, the $3.8 million question.
Yes.
What are you hiding? Because it's obvious that in a case like this, could they have presented that their finances during pretrial to maybe kind of as a strategy to maybe not move forward? And I think if they were to do that, they would have to maybe try to sell it with Cardi. I don't know. What you think that's a strategy to present your finances?
It certainly is. In a case where you're asking for punitive damages, you have to open up your checkbook and your finances, because that becomes fair game. How much you're worth. If you're suing a corporation, you're asking for punitive damages because they put a bad drug on the market. You look at how much money they made off of that. What are the corporate books worth? This person that was driving drunk and injured or killed your client, how much is this person worth? Because that all comes into play. Like, how much is it going to cost to punish? How much will it take to punish this person? It's going to take a lot more to punish $1 billion corporation versus some individual that has $10,000 in their bank. And that's why that's all relevant, is how much is this person, how much is this defendant worth? So that's fair game during the discovery process. And I don't know what they found during that process.
Absolutely. I mean, hindsight is 2020, but if you was to take a case like this, and you had an opportunity, but I guess your schedule didn't align with the, with everything you had to do, which you've during the judgment, and would you seek the injunction to have the channel taken down or just the videos? What type of possible injunctions could you request from the judge in a case like this?
Well, it's interesting. I think everything is fair game, given what she's done already. They could ask that she not post anything about Cardi B, good or bad. I don't know what the likelihood of that is, because Cardi B is a celebrity. She's a public figure. And people do have a right of free speech, but like I said, you don't have a right to defame people. That's not inherent in your right of free speech. And that's why we have laws and lawsuits about that. So I'm surprised she hasn't taken it down until today, actually. That's bewildering.
Yeah. Pride become before the fall. And I guess she's seeing, she knows she hasn't come back in front of this judge. And this may soften the type of injunction that the judge will grant. But definitely the judge should grant not putting the videos back up.
Right.
And I think that's important, because it's, we don't want this to be a case of a shell game or 3-card Monty, where's the card at? And then when the case, when the hearing's over with, she puts the videos back up. We don't want that as well. The other question I have for you is, how do you remember a case where a YouTuber has been taken down like this?
I can't recall one specifically. If it has happened, it doesn't come to mind. If this is the first case, Cardi B is really pushing the boundary, and I'm glad she's doing that, because it needs to be done in other cases. Like I said, these celebrities, entertainers, what have you, they work hard for where they've gotten to their stage in life, and it's just not right that people can ride their coattails and defame them and make money at the same time off their hard work.
And she said, you didn't, again, you weren't in the courtroom, but testimony came out where she said that her sole purpose for allowing the video, she knew that there were lies that was being said about Cardi, but she kept it up so she could make a profit. The jury heard this. They heard this. And it was another instance where she said that the only way, and she was trying to communicate to Cardi through video, the only way I will take these videos down if you pay me. Jury heard that as well. How powerful do you think that was of evidence to get her where she's at today, right now?
Well, you said the jury only took 2 hours. I'm surprised it took 2 hours with that evidence. I mean, if you or I were sitting on that jury, we would really have nailed her to the wall. That's just unfathomable that somebody would say that on the stand and think they're going to win the case or have some shot at appeal.
Yeah. Well, I really thank you for taking the time and coming in. I want you to tell people how they can find you. You're not cheap. Just give you a quick background. Just give them a background about your practice and everything, and the length of time you've been doing it.
Thank you.
Before you go through that, I want to give my condolences to your business partner, because I understand you lost him recently, and my deepest condolences.
I appreciate that. That was my business partner, Houston Smith, and we lost him last week. And he was a gentleman lawyer, great intellectual lawyer, great friend. And I thank you for that, Dennis. I practice in Georgia, Florida, and Alabama, mostly Georgia and Florida these days. I can be reached on my email, which is mark@marklink.law. If you have any questions, I'm happy to go through those and answer them as quick as possible. But all I do is personal injury, defamation cases, and things like this, and protect people's rights. So, absolutely. And I think for your time, Dennis, it's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure, and I'll call you if I need you.
All right. You have a great night.
Bye-bye. Mark, real quick, Does anyone have any questions for Mark before he leaves? One question. I'm taking one question for Mark. Can Cardi sue the social media outlets?
That's a great question. And unfortunately, she can't. There's a section in the law called Section 230. And the last president had talked about this. He wanted to be able to sue social media. And Section 230, I believe, I don't think it's applicable anymore. When they enacted it, it gave social media outlets all kinds of immunity. So if somebody goes on a business website through Yelp and completely flames them and destroys their business, you can't sue Yelp, YouTube, Facebook, or anything for any damages. You have to sue the actual person that posted it. So that allowed these internet companies back in the 90s, when they were coming up, to avoid liability and actually get to where they are today. It's a totally different world today. Google, Yahoo are the biggest and richest companies in the world. There should be liability and accountability for them broadcasting lies like this. And a very good point, Dennis, if somebody went to the Atlanta Constitution or your local paper and defamed you, they could sue the local paper. And maybe that paper gets, 10,000 views. But if they go to Yahoo or YouTube and it gets 1 million views, you can't sue YouTube. It's just not right. And that needs to be changed. So that's a very good question.
And I would think, just for the corporate imaging, in a case like this, Cardi has over 121 million followers on Instagram. And I don't know her numbers on off the top of my head on Twitter, but she released a powerful statement yesterday that talked about YouTube, talked about how suicide can be a factor when people are cyberbullying. Do you think it would be prudent for YouTube to look at this as a corporate image perspective versus trying to protect the dollar? Because YouTube obviously benefited from every video TashaK has monetized. And do you think that they will lean towards corporate imaging or the big bucks?
Unfortunately, I think they're going to keep leaning towards the big bucks until we have some kind of congressional intervention here. We've seen what's happening with Facebook and the hearings they had, and the whistleblowers. I haven't seen any action from Congress on that, and they're just not going to change their behavior until the law changes, I believe, because there's too much money involved.
Too much money. And with that said, I know I know what you charge by the hour, so I'm gonna let you get out of here, brother. I'm gonna let you get out of here. I appreciate you. My audience appreciates you, and let's see what happens. I don't know if we'll see another case like this in a while, because we hadn't seen one before this in a while. So, Mark, thank you very much. You know how to hit Mark up. We're gonna still guys stay here. Mark, I appreciate you very much.
Thank you, Dennis. Have a good night.
You too now. Bye. All right, guys, there you have it. We brought someone in that has a very good understanding of this process. So what I took away from that conversation was the punitive damages. She's going to have to pay for that, and at minimum, that's $1 million. So with that said, it's $1 million. She can recover from that. She can. She has, her platform is strong enough to recover for $1 million punitive damages. Now, what he said also, what I took away from that was, if you seek bankruptcy, you're going to have to open your books. You're going to have to open your books. You're going to have to present tax returns. You're going to have to present bank accounts, and you're going to have to swear under everything that you present under oath. So, for example, if money has been moved, and they tell you on these forms, if you have moved money in a certain period of time from filing, they want to know about it. They want to know about it, because that's one of the, I won't say tactics, but it's an avenue where some people will try to do in order for them to hide their money. And just talking to a few people that have successful YouTube channels, and they're not as successful as TashaK's, they have already amassed a sizable amount of revenue through YouTube. So again, they have the Google AdSense they're going to attack. That, it's just so much that you have to really open your books for. So I don't know if that's going to be the smart thing to do, but they're coming for the money as soon as this injunction part is over with, and they have the right to. They have an actually signed order from the judge. Anyway, guys, you have any other questions? And what did you think about the conversation? Any other questions? Oh, okay. Listen, guys, I had to set it up a little differently. Hit the I guess you hit the I don't know if the super chat is there because I'm using StreamYard. But the Cash App is a $ at Hip Hop Inquirer. If you enjoy this type of commentary with experts, support it. Obviously, I bring some qualified people on, and I have access to a lot of cool people. But please support the channel. I just got an interesting email, by the way, and I'm a little disappointed in the YouTuber. And I'm not going to put him on blast just yet, but I have lawyers. And when you do things like that, I have to spend to correct the mistake on your part. So now I'm going to be looking at you very carefully now. And I think it was really in poor taste, because one of the things you don't know is if you don't own the right to the photo and you just create a compilation, you can't claim copyright. You can't do that. I thought you would have known that. But anyway, we'll deal with that later. But yeah, someone made an attempt to strike a video because I had used a composition of a photo that they didn't own the rights to the photo. But that's all good. Never been struck before, but we'll deal with that. That's why it's always good to have a lawyer on standby. Guys, let's see. Okay, I want to see questions more so than statements, and if it's something that I can talk about, I will. Did you guys see the statement that she released? Because I really didn't see it, but I just got some notes that were sent to me. Do I think Tasha can win an appeal? I don't think so. She just released a statement. Think about this for a second. She just released a statement, and she accused corporate media machine for why she lost, and her First Amendment right was violated. But her attorneys never raised that up in the trial. It was never a discussion of this is a First Amendment issue, and she had the right to say what she said. Now, guess what? The stuff that she said about Cardi, you never had the right to say those things, and the jury ruled in Cardi's favor. So when you say things like that, you have to be able to support it. And if you're releasing statements and you're challenging the First Amendment, you want to take this to the Supreme Court. I guess you don't know how hard it is to get to the Supreme Court. There's only a small percentage of cases that will go to the Supreme Court, and your case is not going to the Supreme Court. And like you said, it'll make it to the 11th district, but you're probably going to have to pay $50,000 to $100,000 if you're really trying to make an impact. Is it worth it to pay the $100,000 to get rid of $3.8 million? And it's not a guarantee. You got to spend the money, but it's still not a guarantee. So I smell cap. I sense cap. And I think that it sounds good. And she has a right to get in front of this, because obviously what came out in the trial was damning. Then couple that with Cardi's statement, that was damning too. And then looking at the way her attorneys handled this case was embarrassing. At minimum, you can probably, TashaK, you can probably, and this, I didn't ask this question of the attorney because they typically don't like to go against other attorneys, but malpractice, probably. Because what we see in the court, it bordered on malpractice. And I was just a little disappointed that this case came this far, only to have her take the videos down today, an act that she could have did months ago. Because that verdict form is a very expensive piece of toilet paper. $3.8 million is very expensive. So the 11th district, based on everything, the transcripts, I really don't see you winning on appeal. You may win one round. Maybe the judge, you can get a reduction in the, you only get, I don't think you can get a reduction because you never presented any financials to the jury. And your lawyer only argued the penalty phase 1 minute and 1 second. Clearly they weren't trying to win. So I'm hearing talk of another celebrity that wants to file suit. Let me read this here. Shout out to Terry Key. What was to be said at closing? Johnny Cochran. Let me read that. That was a. Let me read what you just said. Hold on. Let me read what you just said. Let's see. What was to be said at closing? Johnny Cochran can't save somebody that lied the entire time. 1 minute and 1 second was too long. Shout out to Terry Key. I agree. Well, no, I don't agree. You know why? You had one job to do as the attorney, at least make an attempt to argue for your client. And maybe they didn't want to argue because you didn't want to present your financial records. And I think that might be it. You did not want to present your financial records because had you did that, then you created the basis to argue that you could not afford this sizable judgment. And the lawyer probably said, well, I don't have nothing to work with. We get in front of the jury. I don't have anything to work with. And that's why we got to hold this to 3.8. And I think that the statement that came out, for the most part, from the text I received, you talked about First Amendment, wasn't raised in trial. You talked about the media. The media wasn't on trial. You were on trial. Your company was on trial. So blaming the media was not on trial. There were two defendants in this case, Latasha Kebe and Kebe Studios. And Kebe, it sounds like he was Kebe. That was on trial. So let's not deflect. Just take only, just like you took the videos down, take ownership of what happened. It was a train wreck. Just say, listen, I thought, then you said prior to this that you swore on your children. Never swear on your children for anything. Never use your children as a way of validating your words. You use your children, and I don't want to go into the spiritual and the religious reasons why you don't do that, but you use your children and said you was going to win this. You didn't win this. And you got to be careful with that. You got to be careful with the energy you put out there. Also, in your whole, from what I'm told, and I just got a text, what I'm told is you never address the objections, because that's what you can appeal against. Make those issues raised, and your lawyer will raise those issues during appeal. The objections, you got to go line by line by line by line and look at the objections and challenge them based on the law. Those are the things that you're going to have the ability to argue against, not something you're pulling out the sky. Everyone wants to run to the First Amendment. They want to, and I guarantee you, most people don't know their own Bill of Rights, which is the first 10 amendments of the Constitution. But First Amendment, I have the right to say anything I want to say. No, but you don't have the right to defame someone as an individual. So I would just say, learn the Bill of Rights, learn how it affects you as an individual, and the first 10 amendments of the Bill of Rights deal with individuals. Understand it, and your attorneys never raised any constitutional issues, which I thought that they should have, like the Fifth Amendment of the Bill of Rights, that wasn't raised, or the Sixth Amendment, that wasn't raised. I didn't see any constitutional issues raised, because when that jury heard the vulgarity of your videos, they knew that you exercised your right because you were saying anything. And it was, I don't think that Any sensible person that sat in that trial thought that your constitutional rights was being violated. And you had the right to change your attorneys as well if you thought they were doing a poor job. And I would say that they missed an opportunity when they did their closing on the penalty phase. And those justices in the district in the 11th district are going to look at the 1.1 minutes and say, well, okay, your attorneys didn't fight for you. But does that absolve you from this judgment? Because you picked your attorney. Anyway, guys, that's all I have. Anybody have any more questions? Yes, lawyers may have played. I'm gonna read. Someone left me a comment, and they said, "Well, we all can't afford to pay. Just to donate to the super chat." I'm gonna read a few of them, and I get it. I'm gonna read a few questions, but I have things to do as well. Let's see. Long Lana, it's only 12 minutes. Okay, yeah. I heard it was laced with drama too. It looked to be pretty dramatic. Okay. I'm shocked for once she didn't scream, I'm a black woman. We're not going to talk about the I'm a black woman because you saw who she used, and she has the right to use anybody she wanted for legal representation. Yes. Someone said the green screen. Well, that's a nice green screen, but you look at if I took you around my place, it's not too far off. But my baby grand is not set up yet, but it's not too far off. This is so convenient. All right, guys. Did you guys hit the like button? Did you hit the like button? Did you do that? That's what's up. Well, someone said, how can she object to something she started? Well, objections are the legal tool that is used when you don't agree with the other attorney saying for the other side. You got to make an objection. The judge either overrule it, meaning they continue to ask the question, or you just sustain it, meaning you got to rephrase your question. So this is a legal tool that is used during back and forth when your witnesses on the stand. I'm not playing her statement on this platform. Not happening. That's not happening. But I will read Cardi's statement. Let me read Cardi's statement. How about that? Well, first of all, I don't know how many people saw Cardi's statement, and let's just unpack that. I think TashaK should have had a publicist send out a written statement because I didn't get the just send it out. Not that I'm going to read it, but send it out anyway. Hold on, guys. Let's go to the tablet. Here we go. Cardi's statement was pretty powerful. Okay, then come to my tablet. Let's go to the phones. Let's go. Here we go. Where's Cardi's statement? It was sent to me literally right after I interviewed her. Here we go. It's a long statement. I'm going to read it. After almost 4 years of repeated libel and slander against me, being able to walk away from this victorious brings me great happiness. I appreciate Judge Ray for conducting a fair and impartial trial. I am grateful for the jury and their careful deliberation over the past 2 weeks. I am profoundly grateful for the hard work and support from my legal team. Most importantly, thank you to my family and close friends who held my hand and helped me get the support I needed during this experience. During the trial, all of you have learned about the darkest time in my life. The moment in time was fueled by vile, disgusting, and completely false narratives that were repeatedly and relentlessly being shared online. I thought I would never be heard or vindicated, and I felt completely helpless and vulnerable. I have never taken for granted the platform that my fame allows me to have, which is why for over 3 years I dedicated every resource I had to seek justice. And not just justice for me. The truth is that the intentional harm that was done to me is done to countless others every day. The only difference between me and the high schooler who is being cyberbullied and lied on by their classmates is the money and resources I have to access to. We collectively have to say enough is enough. The unchecked behavior and proverbially false content on platforms like YouTube have to be addressed and removed. The constant harassment and lies that are reported as factual from journalists and bloggers has to end. We can no longer be a society that turns a blind eye to blatant lies. My career began on social media, so I know the power it has. Over the past few years, we have seen how social media platforms were able to bring important and necessary conversations to the forefront, such as Black Lives Matter, Stop Asian Hate, and women's rights. However, we have also seen countless stories of children and adults deciding to take their own lives due to cyberbullying and intentional attacks. So, while I am very grateful that this trial has come to its conclusion and the jury has rendered a powerful and substantial message, literally, I really hope that my experience forces all of us, but especially the platforms who allow the behavior to be a part of their communities, to rethink what moves us forward as a society versus what cripples us. If you're thinking about suicide or worried about a friend or loved one or would like emotional support, please call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline for help at 1-800-273-TALK. This is that was something else that was sent attached to the statement. I'm not going to read that. But those are powerful words. Those are those are powerful words. I mean, it spoke volume to cyberbullying, and she also said that many don't have the resources that she has, and she spent her money, as you can see through this verdict, that she addressed all this, and I commend her for the statement. I'm not reading TashaK's statement because it's out there already. She didn't, to send it out like, your publisher should have sent it out to all the media. We did. Some of us got it, some of us didn't. Very powerful. I'm gonna read some more questions. Is there a time limit on when TK has to pay? Well, there's a 30-day. I mean, she has 30 days to appeal. It usually stays some parts of the case, not all parts. An injunction will likely happen as soon as the judge decides, and that it won't stay that. Let's see here. Said 4 million is not going to bank. Well, I don't know. I hadn't seen it. I'm not going to repeat something that I hadn't seen, but I mean, she big bags. If she got, she got the 4 million, she could just, just pay, just cough the bread up, If you listen to the video is going to be here, but if you listen to my guest, he spoke about why YouTube potentially has decide to let things stay up on the platform. They're making money off of everybody. They're making probably a higher percentage off of everybody. So where's the incentive, for them to take anything down? Unless they get an injunction right from a judge served, then they're not taking it down. And I think Tasha knows that. And I personally understand, because running a business, you have to not ignore notices that come your way, and you can't just throw the mail away. You got to read it, and you have to weigh the risk with the gain, and a lot of times people don't weigh the risk with the gain. The gain wasn't great. $3.8 million is a lot. for anybody, well, not anybody. Jay-Z probably can handle it. Hold on a second, guys. I'm trying to read another one. I don't understand that question, but you said, yeah, she can appeal. She can appeal anything that is appealable, but we have to see. Let's see. The medical expenses, not $250, 250,000 was reduced to 25,000. And that was done on consent by both sides. That's the only thing they consented to. Everything else, punitive, they're not consenting. The punitive is what it is. That's what it is. And again, what the attorney Link said, that even if you file bankruptcy, you got to present your financials. Let's see here. You can also leave your questions in the comment section, and I may or may not have the time to answer them, but leave them in the comment section. There's a lot of comments coming in right now. Let's see what stands out. I don't foresee the channel coming down. Guys, hit the like button. Hit the like button. I got 855 people here. Hit the like button. I don't know where Tiffany's at. Tiffany, where you at, girl? Tiffany, where are you at? Okay. Okay. Let's see here. All right, guys. Some of the questions that you're asking, I can't answer those questions for a number of reasons, but we had the attorney here, and I obviously asked him a question, but I seen things that stood out. Okay. All right. So guys, and gals, do you like the different setup? Because it's different than the previous. And it's going to get better. I promise you, it's going to get better. I'm just getting the tools in motion. I'm actually going to be using the camera. A nice one here. I got an email, and we're going to address that. I'm really disappointed. You can't ask me to come on your channel and do crap stuff like that. Don't ask me to come on your channel and do crap stuff like that, because you obviously don't realize we address everything at some point. We address everything that needs to be addressed. Thank you. So, did you like the questions I asked the attorney? Were you good with those questions? I appreciate you guys. I one thing I noticed being on this YouTube space is very competitive. I've seen some jealousy. I've seen some envy. I've seen some just weird things. Like someone literally got upset because I used a thumbnail that they obviously don't realize you can't copyright something that you don't own. You can't copyright something that you don't own. Weirdos that do weird stuff. But again, it's the lack of knowledge that creates these type of situations. But again, we'll address it. Okay, let's see. I suspect they will. Yeah. Knowing what I know about this individual based on testimony and the back and forth, accusing your husband of lying, and then he's saying you're lying. I suspect that there might be some shifting of assets. I suspect that that will probably raise some flags because they're going to look at all kind of it's a way of doing a forensic accounting of finances. There was a story that came out a couple of days ago, and I'm seeing a lot of these PPP crimes that are being picked up by the federal government. People apply for PPP loans, and they have used forged documents, and they've used whatever fake bank statement, just like stupid things. The government is so used to tracking crimes like this, they have a whole database. They can type in keywords in the system, and they will bring up all similar type of crimes. It's no different than using a LexisNexis or any other search tool. Things that are not on Google, but when you doing paper fraud, they know about this already. It's easy. It's like you're not doing something different. And then you get, apply for these loans that people probably really need them. If you get a PPP loan, you go out and buy a Rolls Royce. Did you really need the money? I mean, it's just it just makes no sense. It's unfortunate that when you do stuff like this, you put yourself voluntarily in servitude. You put yourself in a situation where you're in jail. For what? Now you're not with your family, but you voluntarily put yourself in prisons. For me, is like a form of slavery. So you voluntarily put yourself in servitude because you want to get it easy. You want to get it easy. But I when I was younger, I didn't see the bigger picture in some things. But as I get older, I see the mistakes that others have made. And I look at that. If someone have told them, listen, don't do that. There are literally people that are trained to look at stuff like that. They're trained to look at financing. They're trained to look at all elements of criminality. And what you think you can get away with, you probably can't. You may think, but something, a lot of times people just wait in the cut and then they step up and they do, and they come out and say, hey, listen, we know you did that 2 years ago. Unless you fall under a statute of limitation, they're coming after you. And these PPP, I think it was a trap for a lot of people. And they made it very easy during a time where, things was just going crazy. And it made it easy for a lot of people to make these fraudulent claims. And, there are a lot of people who have gone to jail for 3, 4, 5 years. And it's just ridiculous. You put yourself in servitude. You had to get up every morning, let someone tell you what to do. You had to get in a small box, and you have these guards telling you what you have to do every morning, at night, which way to turn, when to turn the lights off. You really wanted to live that way? Probably not. Anyway. I'll read another question, guys. I did see something coming just now. Let's see. Give me a second here, guys. Shout out to Sharon Compton. Sharon, you didn't have a question, but thank you. Appreciate you for the super chat. Appreciate that. Let's see here. I like that. The truth is hard, but the lie will haunt you. I like that. I like that. I haven't heard that quote. That's cool. Well, somebody else send me the transcript from the prepared statement. Send me the transcript of the prepared statement that she read. I'll read it if I have it. If someone have it. If they have the copy of the prepared statement, I'll read it. In all fairness, I'll read it. What is so what's Sabrina doing? I see something. Sabrina, you making people upset with you? What are you doing? Sabrina. Don't do that, Sabrina. Don't do it. Be nice, Sabrina. We're trying to keep you in here. Be respectful. Sabrina, you obviously don't know what I do. But Sabrina, you're out of here, Sabrina. Bye bye. So we got Sabrina out of here. I don't know why my mods didn't get her. Okay, my mod should be up in here because Sabrina should not be over here campaigning for anybody. All right, we're gonna put you there as well. All right. Uh, well, someone said she moved the videos to a private channel. Well, with an injunction, all that's addressed. And what is interesting, if that is the case, I don't know if it is the case. It may be propaganda. All someone has to do is just go in, pay for membership, and see what's in there. And if it's violating the order or if it's defaming somebody, they'll pull the content. You know. Hey, what's up, Don Ward? What's going on? Okay, hold on a second. I see you. I definitely see you. Let's see here. So I just started using the StreamYard. I'm gonna be better versed in it. We have the high end version, but I like it. I like it. I just need to take advantage of more of the features, and then when I play it back, I'll see if it's conducive for what I'm trying to do. Yeah, we got her out of here. Sabrina, you out of here. Get out of here. Uh, I saw that comment. If they're not saying it to my face, uh, and I know the person, I don't really matter. Yeah, Sabrina out of here. We got her out of here. Let's see. Well, I gotta do a little vetting before I say, yeah, I want you to be a mod on the platform. I do a little vetting. Not that it's not that easy to get someone the keys to the store. Gotta do a little vetting. What's up, IE Network? Why wasn't she made to take them down? Didn't Lisa Moore say make her take them down? There's a hearing, there's a process. There's a process that has to happen, and the judges schedule a hearing for any injunctive relief, and that's going to happen in February or March. But she's already took TashaK took the proactive measure and took it down. She took the proactive approach and took it down. However, there still needs to be something formal in writing just to make sure the record will be preserved that these videos are not supposed to go up or not even to talk. Well, you can't talk about Cardi B. She does have a First Amendment. TashaK has a First Amendment right to discuss her in a manner in which is not defamatory. She does have that right. But when you cross the line and start talking making stuff up, then that's another story. But she does have, the First Amendment right is applicable to, talking about, opinions perhaps, but not just to do reckless stuff. And she might not have been advised properly, I don't know. I'm not making any excuses for her. I'm just saying that why didn't you heed earlier? But again, sometimes people want to trend the internet as testimony came out and make money off of the video. All right. I can't answer questions that are too broad based. Wait a minute. I thought I got you out of here. Wait a minute. Didn't I get you out of here? Wait a minute. I'm making sure. I'm making sure. Oh, that's okay. I was about to get you, Sharon. I almost got you out of here, Sharon. You good? So, okay. Someone said the news don't make up random lies to say. I would say some outlets that put themselves out as media have said some things that perhaps could have been irresponsible. Not a lot of them. Um, so I don't know. I want to look at what she said. I'm gonna look at it. I just didn't want to look at it now, but I'm gonna look at what she said and just try to unpack what she said and see whether or not obviously it's a PR maneuver, and I get it. And the question is, how many people will buy it? Don't know. All right, guys, I am out. I appreciate you for coming in. Leave a comment. Uh, Make sure you subscribe to the page. I have another special guest coming on real soon. I have actually two that were a part of the trial. And shout out to Cardi for giving me the first interview. I appreciate that. Real nice. I'm out.